Hello, everyone. This is the live session, which is really important for you. Yesterday, I explained that how I will be helping you, those who are my subscribers and those who will be my subscriber in future. So that session was really important. I shared all the things that which technologies I learned so far and how I can help you with the questions which you will be having at the time when you have a technical problem and you are not able to solve that issue. So in today's session, I have thought that I should share my experience that how I learned the web technologies, and other than that, how you can start with a specific technology and which is best for you. All right, because in 2021 there are a lot of technologies which are already new, and there are a lot of people who are already confused that which technology to choose first, and then after we can perform the other technologies and go ahead with the web development and mobile app development. All right, so let me share you my experience that how I started with that coding, and how I end up with developing mobile apps as well as the website. So first of all, I started my career as a computer science engineering. So I did my graduation, and then after I placed in a company. So that company was of software development. So I was already interested in coding because I thought that if I will be doing some coding stuff, then later on I will be getting the benefit out of that, because there would be a little pain in the beginning, but later on I will be at a good level. All right, so by that vision I started my career, and then after I slowly improved myself. And first of all, in the company I got the 6 month training. So in that training I practiced a lot. I gone through the stuff, and there were a lot of good people who were already expert in various technologies, so they gave me the guidance. They also cleared the doubts whichever would be there. So there was a team of 7 people with me, and we started learning from HTML, then CSS, and then JavaScript. And later on, we were also interested to learn the backend technologies. So that technology I learned was PHP, core PHP. And then after I completed a demo project of book management system, library management system, you can call it. And then after I was also interested to learn the new technologies which were latest at that time. So I learned Laravel, and then after Twig, and I converted that PHP project to the Laravel project. And later on I moved ahead with Drupal. So that was also one of the technologies. And later on I started with Node.js and React.js. So that was the story. But how you should start your career is like you have to learn first of all HTML. So what does HTML mean? HTML is the language which is used to make the browser understand the specific thing. For example, you sent a request to your server, and the server has sent you the response. So that response would be shown onto your browser, for example, a specific page. So browser is only understanding the HTML language. All right, so that's why we have to learn HTML so that we could create a structure of the data, all right, which we are interested to see on our browser. And then after, CSS is helping us to design all the stuff whichever we will be having. For example, we have some buttons, some images, and some other content like form and table. So all the stuff would be designed by using CSS. So CSS is only helping you to beautify the HTML elements. All right, so that is not much difficult. If you will be starting from HTML, then you will get the awareness of the different tags and so on. And once you are aware about the tags, then you will have some selectors and other stuff like basically if you are learning HTML, the most important part is like in the beginning you have to start learning about the HTML elements. All right, so this is the first step. Then the next step is you have to move ahead with the form, and then after you have to move ahead with table. So these are the three important aspects where you have to improve yourself, and then after you will not face any type of problem. And once you are moving ahead with the CSS part, so in the CSS, these are the same thing. For example, you have form, so you need to design the form. Then for example, you have the table, so you must have the skills to design the table. And then there are some important topics inside of it, which are like position. For example, absolute, static, and we have other static and sticky, fixed. So these are the positions. So we also need to understand that how we can play with these CSS concepts. All right. So these are the important. For example, float, left and right, text align center, and justify. And these are the basic things. And one of the most important aspect of CSS is like selector, CSS selectors. For example, you have ID, you have class name, you have element selector, you have other, for example, hover, and there are a lot of stuff. For example, you are hovering over an element like button, then you are interested to change the color. So at that point of time, you have needed the knowledge of selectors, HTML selectors, all right, CSS selectors basically. So once you are learning, and those selectors are called as pseudocodes, all right, pseudo elements. So you have to learn that, and then after you will be satisfied with the CSS part and HTML part. So those are the important aspects. And then after you have to move ahead with JavaScript. So JavaScript is helping you to interact with your HTML elements. For example, you are interested to click on button. So how you will be handling that data of the form? If you have filled a form and you are interested to just validate the form. For example, there are some input elements, and you are not interested to keep them empty, and how you will be validating that. For example, you have email address, and you already know that email must be verified, a valid email address, then password. And similarly, if you have phone number, so of course we have needed the 10 digits phone number, right? If you have 11 digit, then there must be an error that should be displayed to the user, so that user could understand that where he or she did the mistake. All right. So these are the basic things we learned inside the JavaScript. And there are certain events like on click event, on hover event, on mouse over, on key press. For example, you are pressing any keyboard key, and then what should happen? If you are interested to handle something, then you have the option to do a certain coding in JavaScript, and you can play with different stuff. For example, you are interested to change the background color of the specific page by clicking on a specific button. So you just click on the button, and you need to change the property of the background color. All right. So that is really simple. So if you are interested to change a specific image, so once you are clicking on a button, then the image source attribute would be modified. So in the same way, you are actually improving certain things on interacting with the web page. So this specific thing is handled by JavaScript. All right. And nowadays, if you are good in JavaScript, then it would be easier for you to move ahead with Node.js. Why? Because in Node.js, you are going to use JavaScript on client side as well as the server side. So let me tell you that what does client side and server side mean. For example, you have the browser, and the user is filling a specific form, and you are going to validate that the all the input fields are empty or not. So you will be writing some JavaScript code, and you will be putting some conditions that on a specific input box that there is empty or not. All right. So this is the validation on the front end. I mean, you are going to handle. And on the server side means your PHP code, or maybe .NET code, or maybe on any Python code. So those technologies are server side technologies. All right. For example, your data is stored on a server that is in, for example, USA. So over there, there must be a code that is going to validate your password, username. Because if you have email address and password, so you already know that if you sign up on some form, and for example you have done the registration on Facebook, so once you are going to log in, then you have needed both server side and client side validation. Client side means your email must be valid and your password must not be empty. So this is client side. And on the server side, the validation would be like the email address exists onto their database, and maybe password, whichever password you have added into the input box while login, then that password exists into the database. So the password which you are going to fill in the input box, that would be compared with the password stored on the server. So this is the validation that is going to be done on server. So once the data is going to be matched, and then after, the request would be successful and you will be logged in. I mean, the other pages, there wherever they have the restrictions, so you could able to see those pages only when you are going to be validated. All right, your validation is completed. I mean, you are a genuine user. So the genuineness would be validated on the server side. And on the client side, I mean, onto your browser, you have some things to test, which are like the input box must not be empty, and other small issues like, for example, you are interested to count some characters, so those count must be accurate. For example, you have the 10-digit mobile phone number, so of course if you are adding 11 digit, then you must restrict the user that this is not the valid phone number, you have to enter the valid phone number. All right. So in the same way, there are other things like if there is some empty fields, so you should restrict those. And if there are, in some cases, you also seen that there are some compulsory fields. Compulsory means required fields. So for example, you are going to choose the country country name, and in some cases people has made it compulsory, so you have to fill that specific input box. I mean, you need to enter the country, otherwise you will get the error. So that error is going to be handled by the JavaScript. All right. So in that way, you are going to use the JavaScript for the validation on the front end. All right. And on the server side, you will have the other technology. But I already told you that if you are expert in JavaScript, then you can also use that JavaScript code onto the server side in the form of Nodejs. Nodejs is the technology which is which is just allowing you to use the JavaScript on client side as well as the server side. All right. And the next thing is, once you are done with JavaScript, then you have two paths. For example, you are interested to create some APIs. So what does API mean? API means for example, you are going to insert or delete or maybe update or view the data that is stored already onto the server. So how you will be handling that? You have to send the request, and then after you will be getting the data. For example, you are interested to fetch some employee data, and that data is already stored somewhere. So you have needed the server side language, which will be helping you to interact with your database. So for interaction of database, you have needed the skills related to query language. For example, jQuery. For example, SQL. So SQL is the query language which is helping you to write down the I mean database queries, and using that you can fetch the data, you can delete the data, you can insert the data. All right. So these are the few operations that can be done only if you are aware about the SQL language. All right, that is database language, which is helping you to perform the database operations. So in the API, what you gonna do here is like application programming interface. I mean, you are passing some parameters, and on the basis of those parameters you are going to get the data from the database. And in some cases there are third parties who are providing you some APIs. For example, you are interested to get the keywords data from the Google. So you already know that you don't have the access of Google database. So how you will be getting the keywords data from the Google database? Actually, the Google has already developed an API. API means a simple URL, which is just helping you to fetch the data from the Google database, and you only need to pass a specific keyword. For example, I am interested to add the English. So English is a keyword. All right. So once you are filling the keyword into an input box, and once you are clicking on submit, then you will be getting all the keyword suggestions, and that data would be fetched from the Google database. So Google has just created a URL and just gave you the access of their database only if you are sending them a parameter which is keyword. All right. So this is basically the way to interact with the API of the other third parties. Third parties means not your own server, but the other people who are having such type of data or such type of facilities that you are interested to use or maybe consume. All right. Because in all the cases we don't have everything. All right, we have needed some help from others. So there are other people who already develop such type of things, and they gives us the service. In some cases, if you heard about keywords everywhere, so that is a website in which they are giving you $10 API. So you have to buy that API, and they are giving you the access of the total number of searches of a specific keyword on the Google. So they are also providing you some keyword suggestions. They are also providing you the data related to CPC, past months graph, that how much was the traffic for a specific keyword. So in that way you are going to handle. All right. So I have already developed the website keywords.com, keywords.com. So if you will go through that, you will get to know that how API works. Actually, I consume the APIs and I display the data which is useful for a common people. All right. So people are just using those keyword suggestions, unlimited keywords, and there are, for example, username checker, and I have already developed website review. You can call it website analysis and domain name search. So all the stuff I developed using the APIs. All right. So I have consumed the APIs and fetched the data, and using that I got the modification and displayed the data in a professional way, so that other people could get the benefit. All right. So this is the way to develop the APIs, and for developing the APIs, you have needed a server-side language. So you can also learn a PHP. That is really simple if you are learning a JavaScript first, and then after moving ahead with the PHP. So you should go through the website w3schools.com. That is super simple website, and they have some brief content to understand the concept, and they have also given the exercises where you can practice and learn the coding from there as well. They have already the editor. They are giving you tried yourself examples. So you should modify, you should fill in the blanks, and you should test your answer. And they have also given the quiz, and they have also given the editor where you can modify the element. You can do whatever you are interested in on a specific element. So for practice, you have to go through this specific website. I already gone through this website for various courses at least 10 times. So when I was in my training in the company, so they have also recommended us this website, and they were giving the task that you have to go through this website, and if you have any doubt, then you can ask the questions. So in the same way, if you will have any question, you can also ask me in the comment section. I will be helping you with your questions, and I have already uploaded the videos onto my YouTube channel related to website development, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I have covered up till now, and I have also made the videos related to React.js. So if you are interested to learn, you can also go through those videos, because I have done a lot of struggle in that videos. So you should go through that good content, and definitely you will get to know that how simple is this coding. All right. And on the other hand, if you are facing any specific issue onto your website and you are thinking that you have needed some help, so feel free to ask the questions. I will be helping you out with whatever question you will be having. Today I have also helped one guy who had the problem on their slider. So actually there was a shadow, a box shadow. So on desktop view it was looking good, but on the mobile view that was looking bad. So first of all, I debugged the issue, that where is the problem, and then after I removed that shadow, and then he gave me 10 US dollars. Even I have not asked him to give me, but still he was thinking that I did some struggle, so that's why because of that solution he gave me these much dollars. So in the same way, if you are learning these type of skills by yourself, then definitely you will also solve the problems of other people, and the people are also appreciating your skills. Why? Because you are helping them. So in that way, you will be definitely get to know that how beneficial you will be after 1 year, or maybe after 6 months of practicing such type of coding skills. All right. So for today's video, I think that is uh, good enough. So in the tomorrow's videos, I will be again coming up with the new thing for you. So if you have any doubt, you have any questions, you have any technical problem, you can ask me the questions in the comment section. So I will be happy to give you the reply. And you can also connect me on my WhatsApp number. I have also added into the description below. So once again, thank you so much for watching this. So see you in the next one.